This video is to help with some extra steps for checking your data for state uploads. So, um, couple things. First of all, I'm in Findlay, and I ran a report for student demographics. And when I ran that report, I noticed that there is some glaring blanks in certain areas that I would want to address. So that's one of the things that you can do to help check errors, is just look to see if there are areas that do not have data. And so if this is the race and ethnicity. And again, if your header is not here, you will have to pull that header from the state template and copy and paste it in there to help you as you get to know these fields here. Or if you see blanks in this area and you know for a fact in PowerSchool, all of your data is there, you can go ahead and run a refresh. So we're going to go to, again, the school specific, we go to ReportWorks, we go to state, we're going to go down here to refresh ISB race ethnicity value. We enter our information, and since this is something that would need to be done for all of the students, I would have just checked all students instead of just the 8th graders that I chose with today's date, and submit, and it will run in the background. Now, I know that when I do that, the file then will automatically populate with the data. Now, if I have a blank in this area, this confirms that this student does not have that race ethnicity code entered into PowerSchool. So we would want to make sure that that does come get entered by the secretary. Also, I noticed that there are the word no's. We would want those changed. So this, I would suggest doing a mass edit, which that mass edit could be done by going into PowerSchool, clicking on the students that you would want this to be done for. Since the reading indicator is a no for all of our students, you can go ahead and click all students, Findlay Junior High. I'm sure you all know how to do this already. You would do a student field value. The field itself would be found here. So we would want to make sure that the reading indicator, and this is always so tricky. You would want to check for that reading indicator if it's possibly here as a field. Hopefully that one, and you would type in 02 for the value that you would want. In there. So I'm going to go ahead and click submit to see it doesn't change anything, but here it is. This is the no's that we were seeing. Shouldn't be no's. It should be 02s. But that would be in there. And then we would go ahead and click submit, and it would automatically change those. I'm not going to do that. That's something that I would suggest the buildings to do as they are working through this data. Again, mass editing can be extremely helpful as you're working through some of these data fields and changing them. Okay, so some helpful hints that I think might be helpful to you that I'm going to include the links below. This is a PowerSchool Illinois report document that could be helpful as you are checking reports. Here you'll see the list of reports on the left, and then the description of the report, and it does have the due date and the cycle. I'm not quite sure if this is up to date and accurate, so I'd be careful on that. But here it does give you the specific report that can be run and then what field. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, let's do demographics and enrollment. And the thing that's helpful about this link is that it gives you some information above and how to run that report specifically, but then it also gives you within the report what the field is. If you know you needed to make a mass edit, you could just copy and paste this field within that mass edit, or if you were exporting data specifically and you wanted to look that up, you can do a quick export with this field. But it also gives you the coding. So again, here's my student and data that I pulled, and here's for the gender. I've got 2s and 1s. And it tells me here that a 1 is an F, a 2 is an M, and a 3 is an N. And if you keep scrolling, you'd get similar information for the other eligible columns or fields that we would need to pull. So it's something that's helpful. Also, I will include this link. I'm sure you've seen this before, but this is something that can be helpful. This is for student course assignment B2, and it tells you what fields are mandatory and what those fields the code should be, along with the meaning of the code and a definition of that. So this is something that can be referred to as you're looking at your data. Also, in ISBE on the SIS area here where I sent you before to get those templates, when you're in the template area, which is over on the right there, you will see the reports that need to be uploaded to the state, but you can also see those templates if you drop down. So here's demographics and enrollment. We've got the templates at the top, but then there's a quick tips for completing those, which I think is very helpful. Each one of those templates does have a quick tip. And it tells you specifically the column that is needed, the value of that column. So it kind of defines it, and then also what would need to be in there. So similar to this file, but you can get this for every single one of the files that need to be uploaded to the state.